Hey everybody, good morning. It is Tuesday and we're going to take a look at our weather update today. We're going to take a look at, you know, I was going to say the Jamstack, but we've kind of reviewed that for the month enough times already. Why don't we look at just our classic short range update? We're going to take a look at SPC, our Storm Prediction Center, and so we do have a slight risk of storms there in the yellow near the Four Corners region, a little bit north of that region. Obviously, you can see the cold front along this line of storms. Classic. You get a lot of cold fronts in the summer and winter time, but in the summertime, they tend to produce thunderstorms. As in the wintertime, they tend to produce obviously the Arctic air that comes along with it, and then the cold can support some precip in which you get your big snowstorms along the cold fronts and whatnot on the back ends. Taking a look at day one, again, very slight risk today, nothing major. Day two, that expands tomorrow to the southeast. Again, I'm going to call a lot of places off because you guys have been baking along with places like Cleveland, Ohio, where I live, and Indianapolis, Indiana, and Chicago, Illinois. So you get a little soaker there to cool you off there in the southeast. And by this time, a lot of the heat is just kind of gone here in the Midwest and places like Chicago. Not gone. I mean, we're talking from 90s to the a lower 80s. So it's not like an extreme cold front that's coming through. But day four, we do have a severe. Let's take a look at that. Day four here in the Dakotas, we have a chance of severe weather, 15% chance. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes on that. I've noticed that this severe weather season is kind of steadily redeeming itself because it took a long break after we started off so strong in early April and March, I believe, and kind of lagged off, and now it's kind of steadily, kind of not like really rapidly rising, but just kind of on a steady pace. It's kind of coming back to probably will bring us back to a higher than normal severe weather season. So it's just interesting tidbit. The severe weather is kind of somewhat semi-active right now. Let's take a look at our hurricane center, our NHC prediction outlook. And we do have a fish storm here. By fish storm, I mean a storm that's not going to impact the USA, but it will be a storm in the Atlantic, and it will just be accumulating ace points. So it's not, in other words, it's just going to kind of not impact anyone. That's the good news, at least as a hurricane. Now, if you want to get technical, the clouds go back into the jet stream, and then that kind of recycles itself into the kind of water cycle again, which is kind of fascinating. The whole cycle of weather, basically. Anyways, this will downgrade to a depression by 8 a.m. Wednesday. So this is only weakening, not strengthening. So regardless, it's a fish storm. So whether it weakens or strengthens, it's going to be non-impactful to any land masses. Currently, though, it does have winds of it's not showing. 40 miles per hour. So again, a very weak tropical storm. Taking a look at our Eastern Pacific epoch as I call it. We have disturbance 1, which has a 70% chance of formation in 7 days. So this will most likely develop. Again, it's higher than a 5 out of 10 chance, 50-50. So has a probable chance of developing. I'm not going to read all that, but kind of gives you the gist of that it will develop, and probably. Let's see. Again, it's hard to say based off this if it will make a Mexico impact. We'll check the GFS model right now to see what that has for this storm, and a couple other things we can check out too. But let's keep our eyes on this storm and stay focused. We're going to take a look at our Eastern Pacific. Let's see, epoch. Eastern Pacific, there we go. We're going to take a look at our GFS model and see what that has for the epoch. I'm going to loop it. Sounds better calling it epoch. Anyways, so here's the storm. As you can see, it's slowly developing. Doesn't develop into much. It does kind of get its act going, but it just skims the Mexican coast right there. So by July 1st, it's kind of skimming Mexico. Now, whether or not this hits Mexico, it doesn't look like to be a very impactful storm. Of course, that can change within 12 to 24 hours at the very least, because that's just how weather works. Sometimes the winds change and the forecasts change, and you can end up with having a big old storm on our hands. But right now, let's stay focused on the here and now. Right now, this storm doesn't look to be too strong or intense, but it will come near the Mexican coast and kind of just skedaddle off and again be recycled back into the atmosphere. And then we have another storm. Now this is getting way out into voodoo land, as I call it, way out into nowhere land, because you don't know if this is going to happen, because it's so far out. But this does have a hurricane by July 9th. So it does give you the signal, though, that the model's picking up on several storms, indicating that we're having an active MJO pulse in the Eastern Pacific, which essentially means there's a lot of energy to work with in the Eastern Pacific. So we want to watch that and pay extra attention to those models that are producing hurricanes, because we do look to have a lot of energy in that area to work with. Let's take a look at our NOAA 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. And let's actually do 6 to 10 day first. So here's our 6 to 10 day outlook. Above normal in the west, positive PNA. Not going to go too much into what that means. I will say a positive PNA typically involves a ridge of heat in the west, whether it be summer or winter. Negative PNA, I lied, I'll go into it. Negative PNA indicates a trough of cold air in the west. So anyways, above average here in the east, a small portion of the east at least. Precip, nothing catches my eye there. I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, on the other hand, the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, again, above normal for the northern plains, and that's pretty much the big story. I will close off with this. Just going off my intuitive feeling, I believe that this heat will expand come July 7th-ish or July 4th-ish. You will see this heat start to have a forecast of expanding, because I believe this will be a hot summer, and I would assume that this heat will expand. This will be like our second big dome of heat, that we had this summer. We had our first dome, currently going on right now. This will be our second dome. And I'm talking major heat, like very strong heat, like we had for this first heat ridge that we had basically within the last 48 hours plus. At least it's been 48 hours that we've had this. So that's about it, guys. I just wanted to do a brief little update. I'm sorry this went to 9 minutes long. I didn't plan on it going that long, but enjoy your day, guys. Take care, and peace out. Bye-bye.